What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another video, and we are going for the first official drive with the new Ohlins road and track suspension. Now I say official meaning more than like 2 miles away from my house. I've kind of scooted around the area just to make sure that everything was good and we didn't have any weird noises, but it feels really, really good. It is a very, very comfortable setup. I think that KW just right out of the box is a bit more harsh. So I'm gonna have to play around with the dampening and compression settings a little bit and just sort of stiffen it up a little bit more. I'd say it's a little too close to like the street side of things. See if I can kind of get a bit more rigidity out of it. But it feels really, really nice. I mean, we also have to remember that the previous suspension setup that I had in this car was god awful. Really, really bad. So pretty much anything is going to be an upgrade, but so one thing, this car is just terribly misaligned right now. Steering wheel's going like this while the car is going straight. Obviously not ideal, but you know, at least we can go for a little drive and I can kind of give you guys my reactions. I haven't really gotten into any corners yet with it. And we haven't, you know, like I said, haven't done an alignment, haven't adjusted the sway bar end links yet. But dude, so far this thing feels great. Doesn't have any body roll. Really, really nice. It's a very comfortable suspension. Like, for how low this car is, this thing rides like it's on clouds. So that's kind of why I feel like it would be nice to have a little bit more feedback. Like, this is almost too comfortable, which I know is kind of odd sounding, but it's a thing. It feels great though. It feels great. I can't wait to get this thing up into the actual mountains and on some decent roads where I can really give it the full gas. We're gonna wait until we get obviously alignment and the rest of the arms in, and then set up the new brakes that I have. And yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. This car just performs super well right out of the box. But you know, mine was a bit of a rebuild, being that it had some issues. And man, it's come a long way from what it was before. It's a totally different car. So in terms of the install, if you guys watched the video, I know it was a very long video, but the install is really easy, like pretty straightforward. If you guys watched that video, you may have also saw that I had the Turner Motorsports adjustable camber caster plates. However, they first sent out the 2.5-inch race spring perch, which, you know, is kind of my fault because I didn't tell them what size, but so that obviously wasn't going to fit, being that these are OE size perches, which are 95 millimeters on the inside of the spring. So that's how large the diameter of the perch needs to be that actually seats inside of the spring. Unfortunately, they sent out the OE style ones, and those were 115, so they were too big. I was gonna put, God, that sounds so good. I was gonna put the camber plates on yesterday. Pulled everything apart. I should have measured, but I pulled everything out, pulled the strut out, everything, and then I went to place it under the spring, and I was like, oh, this is too big. I just assumed that it would have been the right size. So back to square one with that. You know, if we have any more issues, like if they can't find me the right perch, then I'm just gonna return all that stuff and go over to either Vorschlag or ground control. Probably Vorschlag. I think that ground control is more expensive and takes longer to make. I could be wrong about that, but I've had pretty good results with Vorschlag in the past. I had them on my E36, and then I had them on my F30. And they have a great setup, and it's direct fit to OEM or even aftermarket race perch size, spring perch size if you need. But yeah, so we'll figure that out. God, this car feels so good, you guys. It's definitely a gratifying feeling when you buy a car that like can't even be driven, and then you just start doing all these things to it to just make it actually drive better than it would have if it was factory. And yeah, feels great. So this car is basically stock. It does have the Dynon underdrive pulley, and then it also has it has an air intake. and it has a axle back, like rear section exhaust system by Meistercraft, however you say it, which is actually a pretty good rear section. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in the exhaust portion yet. I haven't really like thought about that yet because I want to get all the maintenance and like the basic stuff figured out, and then we'll dive into some modifications. But I don't know, man. I have a lot of people who are like, oh, you gotta supercharge it, you gotta do all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know that like supercharging this car is really worth it. Like, yeah, it sounds cool and you'll get like 500 wheel out of it, but with the S65s, from what I understand and what I read, it like greatly reduces reliability, and I just don't think that this is that car. Like, I don't think that you try to make a lot of power out of these cars. It's like, what's the point? You know, it's never going to be like as fast as like, I don't know, like, you know, an S55 or a B58 or anything like that. I just sort of feel like if you're going to spend that money, like spend it elsewhere in something that the car is actually good at. You know, like the car will never be like a super fast car. So put that money into like suspension or like really good tires or like really nice wheel setup. I think that just makes more sense. Also, like, superchargers are super expensive. Of course, dude. Of course I get the slowest drive. Oh my God. That's like perfect road, and a 90-year-old hops out in front of me. It's great. We'll have to peel off here and go a different way. So yeah, back to what I was saying, I don't really know that supercharging this car makes a whole lot of sense. Like, if I was gonna dump a bunch of money into this car, I'd probably do, like, for power, I would probably go like either stroker kit, or I would like try to source like a P65 or something crazy like that. I just don't know if like 10 grand on a supercharger really makes a whole lot of sense. Like, it just, I don't know. Not to like throw shades on superchargers, I think they're killer, but like, I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it in this car. I would much rather put that kind of money into like the suspension or something like that. But yeah, overall, man, the car just drives super, super good. I mean, this isn't really like a video that's gonna show you how good it, how good it drives, but here I am driving it, and I tell you this much, I really couldn't do it before. It was in really rough shape, man. This car just came from this thing was abused, dude. This car needed to be saved very, very badly. It just needed a lot of TLC and needs a lot of like maintenance stuff, It seems like the person who owned this just kind of had it for so long and didn't really take care of like all the basics. So I'm kind of going through all that stuff. I'm also doing the water pump and thermostat and pulleys and belt. I'm doing all of that this weekend, actually. So, just kind of nursing it back to health and then doing some fun little aftermarket stuff. I think, the majority of the money that I'm going to spend on this car is probably going to be on like a really nice seat setup and some really nice wheels and tires, and the brakes were a good chunk of change too. But I think further out than that, and the transmission refresh. I'm going to do like a complete transmission refresh on this car. Brand new OE clutch. It's just everything, all seals. We're going to do the Auto Solutions SSK, I think that's the way to go with this car. We'll liven her up. God, dude. It's funny because, like, when I really hit it, like, when I'm in Watt, this thing's just, like, all over the road because the camber is all over the place. Like, the caster is just totally off. The toe is all messed up. It's kind of scary, to be honest. Like, it just starts like going all over the place. But dude, just being able to drive this thing is, it's so good. Yeah, dude, it handles so good. It handles very, very good. Very happy with the suspension setup. It's so quiet. Like, the suspension in this car is like super quiet. So I think that would be my initial reaction on this, is it's a lot softer than I anticipated. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, this would be like perfect for like an all-around street. I mean, the majority of this car will be street, but this is like the perfect street setup. I'm really curious to see what happens when I kind of go full tilt on like the compression and the rebound, and sort of see how that stiffens it up, because I definitely want it to be a bit more stiff. And if I'm still not happy with that, we can change out the front springs to the race springs, like the 2.5-inch wide perch springs, kind of like Matt Mormon did on his E92. And I think that will give it a bit more of like a stiff drive up front, because this kit is really designed for your OEM setup. That seems to be like the reason you buy this. This guy was sleeping at the light. So it's people buy this so they can just slap it on with all their OEM stuff, and it works well like that. You don't have to buy everything proprietary to Ohlins, which is nice. Oh man, that's like that just never gets old. The S65, those ITBs, man, just never gets old. We're gonna wake those up in a minute here. Actually, we might do it today. If you know what I'm saying. About to wake those bad boys up, get them screaming. So yeah, exhaust wise, like I really don't know where to go or what to do, because I don't want it to be loud. I think it actually sounds really good right now. It's not overbearing, and I can still hear the engine, and I'm just kind of over having like a super loud catless car. I kind of just like the way it sounds now. I might try out some different mid-pipe stuff, but I don't want to remove the cats. I don't really want to deal with that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. Sometimes when you change things up too much, it just ends up sounding worse. And I know that the rear section on this car is actually like a very good quality rear section, so part of me just doesn't even want to change it. So I don't know. We'll see. So smooth. Looking forward to getting the Auto Solutions SSK. This thing has a really long throw. Everyone talks about doing the, what do you call them? The like taller shifters that are really short. I don't know if I want that. I'm not really I kind of just don't like the way that they look. Like they look kind of goofy to me. RKT, whatever those shifters are. They just kind of look like ridiculous to me. I really like the OEM factory shifter and everything. Like it just makes sense. Like it's right here. It's comfortable. I think like a little bit higher could be more beneficial, but I like the factory. I just want it a little bit shorter. And from what I understand, Auto Solutions is supposed to be like the way to go for these cars. So we're gonna do that, and then whole complete trans refresh. This car sounds awesome, dude. It's pretty quiet on the inside of the car. Like I'm curious how much louder it is outside with this exhaust. That's why I think if we left the cats and all of that and then just added like a mid-pipe section into the Meister shaft. You guys got visor shaft. You guys are gonna have to tell me how to pronounce it. I think that would probably sound really good. It sounds almost perfect right now. It's just like a little bit more volume, just a little bit. I think these just start to sound like Mustangs when you go too far, and I'm not trying to be that dude, to be honest. Ah, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Never get tired of that. Man, it feels really good though. Oh man, never a dull moment in an S65 powered car. Yeah, new brakes are gonna feel really good. I mean, these brakes are rough. These brakes are rough for sure. Yeah, the seating, I think the seats are going to make a big difference too, for sure. I want to put the Sportsters in here, the CS Sportsters. These seats just sit really high. My E82 seats are the same thing. They just sit super high. And like going from the M4 to this, the M4 sat so low, it was like a really good seating position. Like I like being a little bit more even with the top of the instrument cluster. This, I feel like I'm like hitting the roof here. It's really high. So I think it's just going to make a lot more sense. I remember this in my E92 though. I was like, man, this car sits really high. Like when you go back and forth between the cars, like even my M2 to this car, it just felt like you were in the clouds when you were driving it. We got a little bit more road now. Alignment's so bad, but it handles good. Even with the bad alignment. I'll take it. I'll take it for a little preliminary drive, and I'll take it. I had some of you guys, I just dropped the video on the Ohlins. Seems that you guys are enjoying it. Space Monkey noticed that my control arm bushings are toast. Yes, they are. You can like just move the whole control arm super effortlessly. So, you know, that's why I was talking about like upgrading the control arms and everything. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Turner. I was looking at SPL and Turner, but I have a really good relationship with the guys over at Turner and they take care of me. So I'll probably end up going Turner. The whole kit, I mean, I already have the sway bar end links, but the whole kit's like $1,700. So I don't know if I need all of it. I think I would just do the control arms, and those are like $800. And yeah, just send it like that. I think that would be really good. I think that would be like the perfect. After I do all the transmission refresh stuff, I kind of plan on doing like a whole like rear end rebuild. Trailing arms, everything in the rear, and then also differential. I might change something I might change up the differential, and then I want to drop the subframe and just clean it up and like resurface it and everything. I don't know if not resurface it, just like repaint it and everything. Because like the entire car is so clean underneath, but like the rear subframe is just, it's got like a lot of like rust on it, and I just want to clean that up. Like I want this car to look good, like top to bottom, dude. I want this car to be in very good shape. Oh my God, I love that sound. It sounds so good. God, I love that. Here's a bumpy road. Yeah. Gonna fly through it here. Oh, dude, it feels freaking good. Like for how crazy this road is right here. I'm surprised I haven't lost this front lip yet. This car's low. This car's freaking low. I think I'm gonna put that other lip on, that like GT4 style one. And it's a version 2, I figured out. So it's a version 2 GT4 lip. So it's not like the really obnoxiously like long one. I don't like that one. It's like the shorter one, which I think is good. God, it sounds so good. This car sounds so good. I mean, how could you ever get tired of that sound? It's just like such a good sounding BMW. Pardon me. Woo! That never gets old. That never gets old, man. Just kidding. All right, guys, so we're gonna wrap this video up. Thank you guys, first of all. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a little bit of a cruise, nothing too crazy. Kind of wanted to give you guys my initial reaction driving this car with the new coilovers. And yeah, so far the car is driving perfectly, exactly how I would want it to drive, minus the alignment, obviously. But in terms of the actual suspension itself, it feels really, really good. It is a super comfortable suspension setup. So I am curious to see what happens if we can stiffen this up just a little bit. And I'm sure changing out some of the control arms and some of the bushings will also help. A lot of the OEM bushings that are on this car, they're just done. They're old, they're worn out, and they need to be replaced. So we're gonna completely refresh all of that, as well as upgrade some of the arms and just kind of go through the paces of making this car as good as possible, just from an OEM driving standpoint. And yeah, I'm really excited. The journey on this car is a good one for sure. I'm enjoying it thoroughly. So if you guys are interested in buying the Ohlins Road and Track coilovers, I will have them linked down below, as well as the Turner sway bar end links and the Turner camber plates. Even though we don't have them on yet, I will have them on soon, hopefully, if we can find the right size perch. If you guys have any information on that, by the way, I'm looking for a 95mm perch that will work with my camber plates and my Ohlins Road and Track coils. If I can't find something to work with the Turner plates, then I'll just go ahead and go to Vorschlag probably. But yeah, it is what it is. So this is where we're sitting right now. The car has settled down to 22¼ inches all the way around, from the bottom of the rim to the bottom of the fender, so the lip. And it's even all the way through. I adjusted the front left. That was a little bit, I think that was a little bit higher, and I dropped it down a little bit, so it's nice and even all the way through. It feels great, man. There's a reason why people call this suspension setup the Swedish gold. This suspension is really, really good. It's one of those things, you know, when it comes to suspension, I think that you just need to sort of try it out for yourself. But you guys have seen me run a lot of KWs on different cars that I've owned, and I really like this Ohlins setup. The majority of people who are driving these cars probably aren't tracking them. You're gonna be fine with either KWs or Ohlins. I think they're very comparable. However, I think that the Ohlins is a better bang for the buck. It is a little bit cheaper than, say, your KW V3s. Probably more comparable to like the price range of a KW V2 or V1 setup. But in terms of comfort, these are way more comfortable than the KWs. The KWs are pretty harsh. They are pretty harsh right out of the box. These ones feel amazing. Like if you want an OEM feeling car, but you want lower stance and something that's just a bit more rigid, this is the way to go. Ohlins Road and Track is for sure the way to go. Now, to be honest, the reason that I went for the Ohlins Road and Track on this is, well, one, I heard great things and I wanted to try something new, but KW was on back order. So initially I was gonna get the V3s, it was on back order, so I said, you know what, let's just try these. But I'm glad I did, because now I have a bit of perspective and I know what I like about them, I know what I don't like about them. I think the only drawback about these are the fact that you do have to do a bit more work, not a lot, but a bit more work if you want to adjust them. I think in the rear, you could probably get away without having to drop the rear trailing arms in order to adjust the rear. There seems to be a bit more flexibility in there, as long as your preload isn't too high. In terms of the front, you will have to drop the knuckle if you want to adjust the height the right way, because the height adjustment is on the bottom side of the shock and not the top side of the shock. And if you have just chimed into this video and you haven't watched my full install video on the Ohlins Road and Track coilovers, please do. It's a little bit longer, but I think there's a lot of good information in there. And overall, man, I'm really, really happy with it. Big shout out to the guys over at Keys Motorsports for supplying everything. I will have it linked down below, as well as Turner Motorsports for supplying the sway bar end links. That is gonna wrap this one up. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day and joining me for these videos. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
And that'll do her.